Hey, we're back with another Ask a Developer interview here for Content Lab. My name is Jeff Fritz, and I'm joined today by Benjamin Lannon. Hey, Ben, how's it going?
Going well.
Now, why don't you introduce yourself for folks who might not know you?
Yep. So I am a software developer up here in upstate New York.
Okay.
And I have that. I'm mainly a web developer, but and I also do a lot of stuff in open source up on GitHub.
Very cool. And we've seen you on Twitch. You're running a Twitch channel out there. Another member of the Live Coders team, broadcasting and teaching folks how to write code.
Yep.
Very cool.
It's been interesting because I looked at the time, and I've been doing this for like 2 months now, and just impressive how time flies.
Oh, it is. Oh my gosh. Now, when you read documentation, when you're trying to learn stuff so you can get ready for those live streams, what kinds of what topics do you look for that you wish folks would cover in their blogs or documentation or even in white papers?
Yeah, so something that like I always see is like that I've been thinking about is when we have like usually when you look at documentation or blogs or tutorials or what have you, there's always the content of like how you can do something, like here is how you can do something. But sometimes I ask like sometimes like about the why you should do something. So like sometimes the ethics of some topic. Because like for instance, in stuff that I'm interested in, like data science and data visualization, you can get a lot of insights from taking a data source from one format and making it digestible. And that can have some positive insights, but sometimes that can have negative insights as well. So you have to like sometimes have those thoughts when you're developing, because like as developers we can make a lot of various things, but you want to make sure you have the best intentions when doing this, and you may want to think about those side effects that may come out of it.
So I like that. Is stepping beyond just a recipe, how to do this, but discussion of the why. That's a really important thing when we get into those topics. Very good point there.
Yeah.
Now, when you look at some of those articles, some of those things, that are recipe driven, how to do some of the things, or even when they're not, are you looking for code snippets, images, or just text, right? Do you like to see it broken up?
Yeah, so I think the easiest way to make it digestible is to have stuff be have multiple formats. So like maybe you are a person that just wants to read content and like get an understanding in that sense. Maybe you want to have code snippets in there. Maybe you have images. And I think having multiple mediums in something, maybe like a blog post, maybe having like a audio transcription behind it, like having all the like a medium that works best for you, because like the way someone learns is completely different from someone else. Like everyone has their different ways of learning.
Yeah.
So really having as like not making it too bloated, but having multiple ways to learn a certain thing can allow it to be the most consumable across many different across different learning styles.
For sure. And when I think about code snippets that I see in articles, it's really handy to not just be able to see it in the article, but also to download it so I can actually get it in a running format too, as one of those mediums that you're talking about, right?
Yeah. And as well, possibly like even having like snippets where like it uses like a code pen or a code sandbox. For like web stuff where you can actually maybe like click a button to run the code and actually see it run in real time.
That interactive documentation. Nice. Try it while you're reading it. Okay. Yeah. Now, I'm one of those folks that when I went through and read a book to learn a language, I typically had my code editor open next to me. Do you find that you do that, where you want to be able to edit and try some of the code or some of the content that's being described or discussed while you're reading?
Yeah, so it's something like, no matter the medium, I think that is a good way of learning, because like it's one thing to just like read, like maybe I'm reading something on JavaScript and I'm going into like what are promises and what is asynchronous code and getting that understanding. But I think really you won't actually like it won't click in your mind until you get some like a text editor out, you write some stuff down.
And having that interactive documentation with a code pen maybe embedded right there next to the article, that makes it right so you can try it, you can feel it, and you get that same experience that you may have had with a full editor open.
And on top of that, like it's one thing to like copy the code over to your editor, try it out, but then maybe change some of the variables, maybe change it to like fit your format. Like maybe you want to use this library for a thing that's different than what they show in the tutorial. So maybe seeing if you can like tweak the code a little bit to make your format. And then if things break, maybe look around and see why it breaks.
Okay. So you get that deeper understanding of what's been shared in the article or in whatever content. Very cool. Now, when we think about all up, when you look at a piece of developer content, whether it's a blog or podcast or whatever, what sets off and makes that feel developer friendly to you?
Yeah, so I think, as I was saying previously, having it be in multiple mediums. So maybe it's a video, maybe it's like some blog posts, maybe it's an audio, like maybe it's text. Like having multiple mediums is useful. Okay. If this is maybe like a video course, maybe having it be a short quote unquote length. So maybe it's like maybe there's a course on learning something and maybe it's under 10 hours. Like you want it to be you want to get the content and kind of digest it and not have to spend, like if I'm doing this on my side, I don't want to spend like weeks upon weeks learning one thing. I want to kind of get to it. And upon that, I want to like get it. I want the code, like the this like resources to be engaging and want me to continue further. So like if I say, oh, this is really interesting, I want to say what's next. Like maybe I want to do it. Maybe I want to use it with this project, or like, can I maybe use it this way? If it gives us resources to go further, like beyond, like maybe we're looking through a tutorial, and then maybe there's like other resources alongside that, that really gives you the opportunity to say, hey, this is something that's very interesting. I want to keep on going.
Next steps. Maybe have you considered try this? Here's a brain teaser. Yeah. Need more information? Here's reference documentation. These types of follow-up links you're talking about.
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. Okay. Now, last question that I have for you is, when you're looking for content from a vendor, right? Maybe it's some documentation or it's a news article. How often are you looking back for that type of content to be updated and to find new things there?
Yeah. So I think it really is dependent on the medium. So like if someone is making a video course per se on some technology, maybe it's a 5-10 hour course. It usually takes a lot longer to actually make that course in the end. So maybe they make that course and it may take a couple months. So I think for those kinds of things where it's longer stretched, I think it's fine for them to, like, if they take like a couple months until they make the next kind of thing. Okay. If it's like a blog or like a 5-10 minute video, maybe having a more like maybe a weekly basis would be useful, because like it's with these kinds of things, I think it's useful to have consistency with pushing out content. If it's like, for sure. And on top of that, I think it's good to say like, hey, maybe I'm using this framework, like maybe I'm using this JavaScript framework and it's version 2 and now version 3 is out. You like for those kinds of things, it's good to keep on making sure that the content and the resources there are available for the newer versions.
Yeah, you got to keep up, right? You don't want it to lag behind and become stale.
Yeah. And if not, and with that, if you have a piece of documentation, maybe saying this was built with version 2.3.4 on Windows 10, with like Node 10, like saying like having specific environments, so when someone when someone tries this out, they can say, oh, I can get this environment set up, and then this, like, it should work as according to like the environment that the author of the content made.
Sure. So you get that right up front. You know where you're plugging in and the applicability to you. Oh, you know what? I'm running Windows 7 in this environment. I might not be able to use this and be as effective. Nice. Yeah. All right. Well, thanks so much, Benjamin. We really appreciate you joining us. And that's been another Ask a Developer interview.